So this is one of the most overlooked aspects of the welding industry, and unfortunately you probably won't hear much of this in actual welding schools that you pay a lot of money to go to, when this is literally a key part of giving a customer a quality result. And it's not all about just pretty looking welds. Yes, today we are talking about distortion. You might hear some vague terms like keep your heat low and jump around a lot to spread out your heat, but if you jump around to the wrong spot, you could be fueling this distortion instead of avoiding it. I have mad respect for guys that can put down some slick welds, but also when they're done with the project, it's all square, level, and overall the project just looks amazing, because not only does it take a lot of skill to put down a slick looking weld, but it also is a skill in itself to keep your project straight, square, and level at the end of the day once you get done welding everything. And those two skills play hand in hand when you're welding anything together. And a big mistake that I see nowadays is guys just looking to get just the prettiest welds and just always chasing that slick weld and just how to weld better and just weld, but not put any time or thought into what happens after the weld. So we are going to be breaking down weld distortion and how to avoid it, different techniques, principles, things you can do to help make your projects look square, straight, level at the end of the day. So here at the Fab Lab, not only are we focusing on slick welds and how to make your welds look pretty, but also the other side of it too, where the distortion, fabrication side of it that goes hand in hand with welding. So with all that being said, let's get right into it. So this is going to be a welding distortion series. I don't want to put this all in just one video because this is going to be like an overwhelming amount of information. So I want to break this up and break this down for you guys so it's easy to understand. So in today's video, we're just going to focus on just like an overview of distortion, general principles, and later on in the other videos, I'm going to be going over certain techniques and specific tactics you can use for your everyday projects. So there are so many little tricks and tactics and techniques you can use to avoid distortion, but there are countless variables in every situation, and every situation is different. So this is not an exact science like A plus B equals C. So I could give you guys all the tricks up my sleeves and all the things I know about distortion, but at the end of the day, it comes down to you guys paying attention to what happens once that weld is completed and cooled down, and how that part is affected once it's welded. And the more you pay attention to how your welds react in different situations, the better you will be able to predict in the future how welds will react in future situations. So having the patience for this is super key. And when you have the patience for it, the amount of time this saves you is incredible. Just take that extra 5-10 minutes before you start your project to plan out your welds, plan out how you're going to avoid the distortion and the certain weld joints and all that, because that'll save you hours of headache after you weld everything out if you don't plan, of trying to straighten things back out from welds distorting your parts and all that. So it just saves you so much headache and so much time. Just not worth the hassle. So patience and planning are huge with avoiding distortion. And another big factor is tolerances. Depending on what job you're working on and what the tolerance is for that job, that determines how you go about avoiding distortion on that project. So if you have a project that has like super tight tolerances and is super critical, like you gotta take every precaution you know of to avoid distortion. But if it's just something you're just throwing together in your backyard, like if it bends a little bit, probably not gonna matter a whole lot. So I can't stress this enough. Every job is different, every scenario is different, and it all depends on what scenario you're in. So you might be wondering, well, what do I do in my situation? I could literally yap on for years going into every single situation, scenario, possible thing that you could encounter, but let me just put it this way. So the way I like to look at it is these techniques that I'll be giving you are like tools. So for example, let's say I give you a wrench and a pliers and you need to take out a bolt on something. Both tools will give you the same result, but the wrench is going to do it way more efficiently and a lot easier in that situation. Now, if you flip it, and let's say you're in a different situation where you're ripping out an old wire harness or something in a car, and you just gotta grab something and just rip it, then that pliers will grab that and just rip that with no effort at all. But that wrench, that ain't gonna do squat for you. So with these techniques / tools that I'm gonna be giving you, you'll have to decide on your own which technique is best to be used in that situation that you're in. So let's go back to that tool analogy. Let's say you got your wrench and you're trying to take that bolt out and you're really struggling trying to get that bolt out and you just can't get it with one. So now you can get another wrench and hook it just like this. And this gives you even more leverage now to really turn that bolt out. So you can double up your tools to get you that result you're looking for. In this case, it was to remove a bolt, but in your situation, that result you're looking for is to avoid distortion. So you can double up your techniques 2, 3, you can use a bunch of them to really avoid distortion. And that is when these techniques can be super helpful when you're in those tight tolerances and really critical jobs where you can't have much weld distortion. So now you might be wondering, well, what are the techniques? So when it comes to techniques as far as how to avoid distortion in different scenarios, it all boils down to 2 general categories. So your first category is your pre-welding techniques. So these techniques include like pre-bending, bracing, over-tacking, material prep, and weld backing. So the other category is actually when you go to weld the project out. So that includes proper weld placement, proper weld direction, proper weld size, and how you have your machine set up. And other welding practices all play a huge role in welding out your project properly. So there's a ton of explanation that goes with every single one of those techniques within those categories. So I'm breaking all that down in the next couple of videos of this distortion series. So make sure to stick around. So with that being said, if you have any questions on any part of this video, drop those in the comments below. And I have warped so many things in the past and distorted so many pieces of metal, it's not even funny. So if you've ever warped anything in the past, or if you're strong with a project right now that's really kicking your butt as far as warping, or if you have a future project that you want to make sure it comes out nice and square and level, drop that in the comments below. And I'll try to incorporate some of those scenarios in my future videos so I can directly address your guys' problems. So with that being said, hope you guys liked the video and we'll see you in the next one.